go. So that's Cam Waters off the road. He's got a partner. I think that was Rick Kelly. I'm just trying to catch that one for you. I'm not sure whether that's happened on the way back.
Again, they were back on top of each other. And here's the understanding of what went on between Rick Kelly and Cam Waters. So Rick clobbers that inside curb. He might actually end up getting a little whack for that one from race control. And actually Percat went over the top of that curbing pretty aggressively as well. So that was an awkward one, a bit of a squeeze. And look at the amount of air underneath the Blackwood's car as well for Nick Percat. Well,
he saw the opportunity, didn't he? He just grabbed 2 spots. Just a spontaneous move and an aggressive one over the curb. But that also fixed that for us. Thanks for finding that replay, because I thought there might have been a pit exit issue. It wasn't. It was actually on track.
Now, what will be argued in that is the argument will be along the lines that Cam Waters is also not giving him a car width on the run in there. So that'll be one of those little debates that goes between drivers and teams as they figure out between them what the appropriate... And that has to be all. We've got a big issue for Chaz Mostert. Huge damage in the left rear corner of that car. And remember that...
Roll the car backwards, please.
Well, I don't know what happened there, boys. It came in and it was actually flaming underneath when it came in for the stop. And then they didn't get the wheel on. So it's just a compound issue there, big time. 2 separate issues. The wheel's not on that car, the left rear, and it was on fire. The bottom, yeah, the exhaust's all bent up. He's had a touch somewhere with someone and it's caught the Kevlar sill panel. You got it. That's what I'm trying to get out.
I tried to save you there, Murph.
But there's a fair bit of damage on that car, but pit stop issues as well.
Now, Chris O'Toole will be watching at home and cursing at the moment. And Chris, unfortunately, came unstuck off his Harley. He normally manages activities in the garage here for Tickford Racing, and he's hurt himself. And he's not here for the first time in the history of the team. So we wish him well in recovery. Matty Roberts is running things down there at the moment. There'll be a little bit of tension and frustration. It's already been a tough weekend for Chaz Mostert and Adam De Borro.
Oh, I think he's actually copped some fumes and all that. So that we'll just keep an eye on Chaz with there. He wanted to get out. You could see the urgency of getting him out.
Now the
dad's coming over.
Fumes can be ordinary, but so can the retardant. The fire retardant actually nicks all the oxygen out of the air as well.
So I think what's actually happened as a consequence of the contact that you made mention of and the damage to the sill panel, it will have damaged the hub. That's why that wheel hasn't gone on. You can see there's a big wheel print in the door of the Super Cheap Falcon. And there's the fire quickly recovered now. Chaz Mostert.
Yeah, Scape, you just look.
No, off the road big time as McLaughlin backing it into the grass. It looks like he's still got Enge running and can grab first gear and get on with it. Compounding a tough day.
What happened? I think that's Vivian. Made a pass of last show. He drove me off the track. And then got spun off coming off four. It's ridiculous.
Okay, and the someone then was Dale Wood. And that's where we picked it up initially. It's a remarkably clean start to the race. Bit of action here between Jason Bargwanna and Tim Slade sends Jace out into the weeds. And we actually had a bit of overnight rain here, so it'll be slippery out there.
Just down at BJR, chatting to my old boss, actually, Bradley Jones.
Ugly! Oh, no! Holdsworth and Davison. Oh, my goodness.
It's a big crash.
And that's
Caruso.
Over the top.
It was Michael Caruso.
Hey, mate, just as long as you're all right.
That was a shocking incident. Oh, my goodness me. Twice in 2 days in the same spot. And I think I heard Will say it was completely over the top.
Stay there till the marshals get to you, mate. Everything's safe at the moment.
So Caruso has gone in really heavy in exactly the same position, exactly the same way as Garth Tander did. And Will Davison is out of the car. And he's going to go and make sure that Michael's okay. That was just an enormous impact. Look at the back. Look at what it's done to car 22. Absolutely wrecked it.
Car 2
to shreds. Check this out.
This is the hit. So that turned him around, but 22 actually turns over.
Oh. Oh, that's insane.
Oh, that's fuel at the back of Will's car.
That is such a fast section of road. So sorry, it didn't turn over, but it turned right up onto the back.
And Michael Caruso has made contact with the crew. This is it on the Zinger replay. Will Davison in front, Caruso behind him. There's contact here, the highest speed part of the circuit. And check out Davison's car, completely airborne. Completely airborne in a cloud of smoke. Caruso goes diving in. Oh my goodness. So Will's okay, he's out of the car. And Michael's okay as well, we understand. Is that right, Kem?
Yeah, apparently so. I'm down with the man they call Killer, who talks to Michael on the radio. Mate, the guys were just taking sighs of relief up there. Can you give us an update on Michael's condition?
Well, we spoke to him straight after the crash, and he said he was fine. I think it just took him a while to get out the car because the car was up against the tyres, but he said he's fine. Yeah, it looks like he just locked a front brake or something like that and went into the back of the wheel and then went off. Yeah, which is a bit of a shame because we're running quite well, but I guess that's how it goes.
Hard luck, mate. One more to go, though. All the best for Homebush.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
And yet again, that tyre bundle down there has done its job, but for the second time in as many days, we're going to have a restart. This battle.
Oh, no. Safety car.
Davison at turn 4. Is he going to get out of here?
He might get out.
He has. He's got out. Usually when you're bunkered in there, you're gone, aren't you? I've seen you in there, Crompo.
Have you not?
I have.
You make this stuff up.
He was further, Crompo was further up ahead the road.
I have to chime in.
Pointing towards the wall.
Oh, that's nasty. That's when that motocross berm doesn't do the motocross berm thing.
It does the opposite, tips you the other side.
Parts company. Now, they're not compelled to use those mirrors here this weekend. Normally both mirrors have got to be on the car. We've got a problem here for car 4. So Craig Baird's gone straight ahead and into the tyre barrier at turn 11. So it's been a big weekend of double duty also for Craig Baird.
Pull the lever and forward, mate.
Trying to restart and grab reverse there at the moment. He was in a battle with Robert Dahlgren, and Dahlgren tried to put a move on here. He did. In fact, they glanced, and that's the reason why Baird ended up in there. So the little bump there just glanced the bends off to the right-hand side. So Dahlgren down the inside, and actually he didn't pull up the Volvo enough. He couldn't get it down to the apex, so he slid by. It's actually done some damage to the front right corner of the E63, so reasonably heavy contact there for Craig Baird. And lucky he didn't cop a whack from behind. His teammate yesterday, Greg Ritter, got terrible blisters on his foot as well. They came home 13th in yesterday's race, Robert Dahlgren and Greg Ritter. 16th in Giro campaign for Greg Ritter, Scafie, and 11 of those have been with Gary Rogers Motorsport. It's a remarkable performance. So Baird has been able to extract that car, but they'll probably need to bring it in with that level of damage on the front right-hand corner. And there's a lot of radio traffic. I'm suspecting that the Petters safety car
Did their job. And if you missed it yesterday, check it out. High-speed rotation, violent impact. And you could see that the rear wheels were fully locked and the fronts were rotating. That was the giveaway for me that there was a brake problem. So it's a split system on a supercar. Hydraulic systems are split between front and rear. Lost his front brakes. Rear brakes are fully locked. And it just basically shattered everything at the rear of the car. So a massive rebuild last night. A lot of fabrication work had to be done. And a hand lent by other teams, including 888 Race Engineering. Rihanna.
Yeah, just some feedback from Macaulay Jones on the car. He's just reporting that the car does feel quite nervous. Brad Jones did give me a bit of a smirk that he said, I'm not sure if that is the car or Macaulay, but obviously the car's still not exactly as it was when it came into the weekend, but they do need to do a little bit of work in the lane to ensure that the car can be as stable as possible for Macaulay.
Thanks, Rihanna.
Been a benefit, though, for Mark Winterbottom. And a big almighty lock up for Garth Tander, straight into the fence.
I can see that coming.
You all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Safety car. PD cut a tyre on the flag.
But Garth Tander saying that his tyre was cut, and you'll see it on the replay when we get to it, but
Just stay there until they control this one.
he was a passenger.
Those tyres have done an unbelievably good job. Those cars are doing 265 kilometres an hour.
And I reckon it's on the rejoin that Garth Tander's talking about.
That's what he's saying. You can't just drive across the grass and emerge back on the road, and that's where the contact was made.
So we could see that. I could see it deflated as he went up there and put his foot on the brake, and I held my breath. It's good to hear Garth's voice on the radio. I remember that's a brand new shell last weekend for the race in Tasmania.
Look how far it's gone in.
Yeah, and Mark's observation's right. I mean, they've done a terrific job with the way in which the tyre, and there's a scientific process, even though you may not think so. The way those tyres are actually joined, there's a specification for it. The way they're linked, there's also the belt across the front of the tyres as well. So the energy gets dispersed across the entire tyre bundle, and then behind that there's the guardrail as well. And isn't that great to see Garth safely stepping out of that car.
And folks, I can't reiterate it enough, when the cars are going fast and you go off the road like that with no control, tyre flat. So here's Paul Dumbrell off at turn 1. He was around the outside, effectively second. That's Todd Kelly getting back on. But what actually happens, look for Garth Tander. Garth Tander, it's just here.
Here comes Paul on the right.
This is the contact just up in front. Here we go. This is the contact now. Bang. And that wheel-to-wheel contact has deflated the right-hand front tyre of Garth Tander's. And as we follow up here, this will be on Fianganol. Oh, hang on. It might have been actually even more there, because there's a bit of fainting. Maybe it's not steering properly. It's not steering properly. Here we go. And that's gone. That's gone. And lucky he didn't get Dumbrell with it. That is a very serious hit.
There's a couple of telltales in that process. When he first came off turn 4, it was shedding bits, and then there was another point midway through the straight after the little kink at turn 5 where there was another burst of bits there. Now, whether it was beginning to machine its wheel or something at that point as well, Larko might have some more.
No, I was just going to add, mate, what a great innovation the hands device is there. You saw as Garth got out of his car. That's the thing that keeps his helmet tethered to himself there, so he can't stretch his neck. Remember, he had the big biff at Gold Coast only a couple of weeks ago, so that's 2 in a few weeks. So great safety innovations.
And Rob Crawford told me in Tasmania last week that a number that they've spent in the recent past, the Toll Holden Racing team, on damage repair. Remember, they had the traumatic Bathurst for Will Davison. They had the big drama at the Gold Coast.
So we're seeing a clear demonstration of the pace that Van Gisbergen's got, but look at the nonsense back here. And round goes Cam Waters at turn 9.
Now, who got him at the end? Because he's been bumped. Although I didn't understand the Caruso spin, I understand that's got to be contact. So right at the end, there was 3 or 4 cars all having a dive.
I think it may have been Lowndes.
No, give us some feedback when you can, mate. You look okay from TV.
Doesn't look like there's any lingering damage there for Waters. But there are a lot of cars involved, plunging down the inside of turn 9, and we've got trouble here also for Coulthard, who hasn't had a brilliant day, and that thing's wheezing. It's dead.
Copy that.
Damage in the front left corner, and so that's going to park him up here as well. So he's going to have to do the entire lap as well.
Yeah, that tyre's flat. There's a lot of damage on the left-hand front.
He's just going to have to crawl around.
So did that come from the inside tyre or the inside curb?
More trouble.
More trouble now. Is that Tander or Golding?
That'd be Golding. Damage to the right front corner of that car, and more trouble this time. We've got Stanaway in the wall. Another safety car will come out. Safety cars breed others on occasion.
Flag safety cars.
SC triggered once again. Turn 5. That's buried in those tyres. They're very difficult to get it out, but he's done it.
So 2 of the rookies now, did they make contact together? Because it does look like there's been some front contact there.
So we've got Coulthard limping, James Golding limping, Richie Stanaway in the wall but has pulled it back out. More trouble here, Todd Hazelwood. So there's been quite a bit of action at the back of the pack. The minute you tighten the field up and they get opportunistic, it's on. So here's the replay of what happened down at 9. So we're focused on the Monster Energy car. Watch Craig Lowndes. Oh, it was Lowndes who himself was sideways, who turns Cam Waters. Good job by Nick Percat to not drill the side of the Monster Energy Ford Falcon, but clearly there was a lot more went on as we were looking at all this. It was all happening in the final corner, and then perhaps up at the staircase as well on this restart lap. That's the other angle.
I think because it all started with the big dive. We're on board now with Craig Lowndes, so he gets hit there. Now, did he actually get hit and then make contact? It looks like they've actually had a chain reaction hit.
I thought that, but here we go. There's a little bit more to unfold here. So that's what happened to Coulthard. So he climbed over Richie Stanaway. That's the reason for the damage. That bunched the pack up. So once they all got tightened up, then there's been more nonsense up near turn 4. So watch the Shell V-Power car. Down the inside goes Fabian, but he didn't get it done. He's climbed over the right rear of Richie Stanaway. That's what's damaged the left front corner of car number 12. But then this group of cars, they've all ended up unnaturally bunched together at turn 5.
And it was Golding and Stanaway and Hazelwood, all 3 rookies.
It was a
all
rookie
together.
pie, and they were just all locked together, and Stanaway ricochets to the outside, ends up in the tyre wall.
That was a clumsy pass by Fabian then.
Yeah, and it's because his left front has just grabbed the right rear, protruding outside the guard. So this is after this lot have all ended up being bunched up. And not long after this, all of these cars end up making contact up at turn 5.
So a lot of damage on the front of Simona's Harvey Norman Nissan Altima. And that would have come from the tyre at turn 1 at some stage. We're on board now with James Golding. Just trying to limp. How's the vibration in this car? Because the tie rod end or steering arm's broken pretty much right off the Wilson Security GRM Commodore. He's just trying to limp it back without causing too much damage. So what an initiation for so many of the rookies today. Fabian Coulthard, certainly not a rookie. He was in contention for most of last year to win the championship. In fact, he probably led the year for more time than anybody else. And that is a lot of damage on the left-hand front for that car. Fire down the inside at turn 14. Richie Stanaway climbed up on that right rear of Richie's. Now, let's just have another look.
Yeah, watch behind Lowndes to see whether anyone gets him, and the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
That was the reason
Tander.
why. So it was Tander that got Lowndes. So Lowndes ends up sideways, then tags Waters. This is the beginning of a sequence that then has more to the tail when they get to turn 14, and then more again when they get up to turn 5.
Watch this. Watch the opposite lock. Bang. So that's the hit he got.
Yeah.
And then because he had corrective
he was a passenger.
Steering on it, he was actually a passenger at that point. Then it ends up making contact wider.
Land 2. And here is the stricken Fabian Coulthard. He's got a lot of damage on the front of that car. He's been on the radio just in conversation as well. So looking well worse for wear. So the bottom of the under tray's also been ripped out of that car. That's twice in 2 days at Brad Jones Motorsport that they've had pretty significant front end damage. And the best of their runners.
Into the pit lane, so it was a little bit sketchy, locked the brake.
So front bumper, right-hand headlight assembly. A lot of bonnet damage there as well. And you can see quite a portion of the under tray is just dangling on that car, so the handling will be pretty evil. And it's actually quite a good call, given the high-speed nature of the track. If too much of that ends up under the front wheels, the car will just literally fly straight ahead, and big chance to meet a concrete wall around here. So they don't want to take that risk, particularly when he's at the back of the field.
Brad Jones Racing's best player now in this race. Jason Bright, position 12 in car 8. Dale Wood's back in 24th. He's been through the lane.
Yeah, that's going to take a little while to resolve.
So behind the Lexus RCF safety car here, Jamie Whincup, if you've just joined us, is the race leader from David Reynolds. Fastest lap of the race until that safety car came out belonged to Whincup with a 1:04.35, and Reynolds was just slowly closing that gap down. But now we're all bunched back up once again. This will be good for Scott Pye. Lost a bit of ground at the start as well in the 17. Closer again to the 97.
Pretty disappointed Brad Jones. He made substantial damage there, Fabian. That was a pretty messy sort of start, and then he was got caught up in that mess down at turn 6.
Yeah, well, look, it was a scrappy start, and then you know, when you're mid-pack, there's always a risk with the contact we have in this game that you're going to get caught up in something. So it's really unfortunate. It's not good for the championship. Hopefully we've got him out before he'll go a lap down, and he can run around, gather up some points, and we'll be a bit more competitive in the soft tyre race.
I think him and Bridie actually had a bit of a moment down there at 1 at the start. I mean, Tander got a great start, came between them, and then Fabs started the lap badly by being on the grass.
Yeah, it's not that much grip out there on that stuff. So, you know, the boys just really need to... Right now, Bridie's probably not too bad. He's in 12th. And Fabian, as I said, we just need him to go round and round, gather up some points so we can fix the car and attack in the next one.
And what about Dale Wood as well? He has been in the wars coming for getting that rear bumper removed.
Yeah, it's not a great day for us, but fortunately there's a safety car, so he's still in the race. So they got the rear bumper off, he's back out there and dropped a couple of positions, but hopefully he's in a spot where he can fight forward.
Carry on.
Thank you.
Remember what Brad's talking about there. Same thing Neil covered off on the grid. It's really close between Reynolds, Garth Tander, Fabian.
Last lap speed, the Whincup was the fastest, as Roland just pointed out. He sees that on his data as well. Lowndes was 4th fastest. Oh, off the road, and a big incident here for Lowndes. He's in the wall. The race leader in the wall. That looked like a left trigger, a safety car. And Lowndes, big damage, hard into the wall. Something must surely have failed.
It looked like the left rear or something had gone. What has happened to Craig Lowndes here?
So the good news is he's okay. There you go. So it's hurt a tyre.
And what will this do in terms of the championship? Leading by 0.7.
There's a big moment. Let's have a look at it again in replay. So here he comes off the final corner. So is it a wear issue, or had that tyre copped some damage on a curb somewhere? There won't be very much of it to look at it. So it's let go big time. Plucked the left rear guard, which is a composite guard, off it. And of course, as soon as he's put any right-hand lock on it to turn the corner, it was impossible to control the car. So remember, it's doing 255 kilometres an hour here and has just pitched that car. Fortunately, reasonably square impact. That yields the lead to David Reynolds. Safety car out, so the Lexus RCF will control. Let's listen to this and watch. That would have felt like an eternity for Craig Lowndes. So he just had to sit there with opposite lock. He looked over his left shoulder. He knew the wall was coming. He would have relaxed his body. You can see there's nothing left of the carcass of the tyre on that left rear rim. It's plucked the entire guard off. He's got everything clamped up brake-wise. It's making sparks out of the front left tyre. It's down to the steel belts on the tyre. Full opposite lock and hard into the concrete wall.
Look at how much bodywork had been torn off the back of it from that tyre. And there are 2 points on this track where you hit 255 kilometres an hour. The fastest speeds we see at Pookie, when that tyre let go, it was at about that marker. Unbelievable. And the onboard look, it felt more severe. I guess in some ways, he's fortunate it wasn't worse. But this is a championship changer potentially. Lowndes was ahead, leading this race. The bloke he was fighting for the title with at the pointy end of the ladder, Mark Winterbottom, was 5th at that stage. He would have clipped more out of it. This is the view from Reynolds. It's like a mini explosion going off when that tyre lets go.
reaction in the Red Bull Racing Australia garage. Round here, because of the aggressive nature of the curbs, very easy to damage a tyre.
Very precarious, and clearly when your visibility is bad, as off goes car 12, and that's a big one. It's the third time, isn't it?
Third in the championship, so that's the...
But he's been off the road a couple of times down here. You've been told. So there you go. We've just got a shot of it right now. So Skippy's made his annual appearance
today. Track position is owned by Shane Van Gisbergen, but it's Garth Tander right on him. Nick Percat, David Reynolds, Scott Pye's in there. Craig Lowndes is out of sequence. He's down the order at 16th, and he's gone. Shane Van Gisbergen has gone down the escape road at 23. We've said it over and over all week. They keep on doing it. Tander went with him. Nick Percat is the leader of the race. How did that happen?
That's unbelievable. The man you put your money on, the guy who's the master of the wet conditions, goes off. Now Tander's spun. Mostert's involved. Cam was involved. Can you believe the chaos we've got going in this race? I cannot believe it.
Safety cars breed safety cars. That's big problems for Chaz Mostert. So people shaking their heads. That was Rod Nash at ProDrive Racing Australia. After all that work, after 6 hours and 30 minutes, Chaz Mostert, here's the replay. This is the restart. Watch Shane Van Gisbergen. Has a wobble in the rear, locks the rears, and down he goes. He was super lucky not to end up in the gravel. And the ditto remark for Tander, who skated out the other side. But when he checked up, the rest of the pack all got taken out of sequence. And then all the madness began up here at 1. The Camcat is going to tell the story. Watch this cluster here. Mostert makes contact with Tander. Waters makes contact with Mostert. And Tander makes contact with the rear wing of Waters, and it plucks the rear wing out. Crazy stuff. Here's the replay with vantage point now from Garth Tander's car. He's second. He wouldn't believe his eyes when he sees this. Here comes the wriggle. There she goes. Bob-eye Shane, and then he goes with it. Tander in the gravel. Stays up the throttle. Waddles back on.
The car went backwards into the tyre wall, and poor Drew is stuck. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck on his side. He's fine. Safety car has been called, and there was quite a dice going on for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. There are a gaggle of cars making their way up Mountain Straight, and that's the end result. The car hasn't fully rolled over Cam McConville, but it's stuck on his side, and that's just got to be more uncomfortable. Here we go. He just gets a touch. Ryan Hansford puts his nose in, nowhere near the gap.
I think that's a big impact with the wall, so the damage will be done in the rear quarter with that hit. So he's had a look up the inside. He's not far enough up, and locked a brake, and he was out of control himself, really. That pass, he wasn't far enough in, I don't think, to make that pass without any contact, and just a little bit. You could see, on the other hand, there's always two stories, two views here, and Russell did turn in a little bit, but avoidable contact.
You've got to look at it two ways too, in terms of the wall. Obviously, it's a tyre wall there, so that's what's bounced the car up and over. If he'd gone in there to just a concrete wall, that's a lot more rear-end damage. So either way, there's some work to do for Wayne Russell and the Novocastrian Adrenaline team. But what can Drew do? He's just got to sit there and wait.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, for someone that has been over a couple of times on their lid, you don't want to undo the seatbelts.
Down here with Wayne Russell. Wayne, you've looked at that replay a couple of times. What's your take on it?
Well, it looks like he got a tap up the backside, and that sent the car sideways straight to the tyre wall. He's getting out of the car, so he's okay, thank goodness. But he'll be absolutely shattered. He was having a good run. The car was going okay. Unfortunately, I mean, what do you do? Sometimes these things happen in motor racing, but we're just a really small budget team, and we just can't afford these sort of accidents. So, but he's okay, and that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Such a shame. Thanks, Wayne.
This happened earlier on down at Falcon Elbow. Ryan Hansford, just a little bit of a touch on the back of the ESET car, and then this, top of Mountain Straight, just up the inside, a small touch, and then this, up and over the tyre wall.
Well, I think it was 60-40, to be honest, Noons. I mean, there really wasn't a big enough gap, and he's locked the brake to try and get out of it, because Russell did turn in quite aggressively to the apex, but there wasn't enough overlap, really.
At the start, so John Bowe is going to have to come through the lane. Look at this, Stephen Richards, Todd Kelly. It's a bit willing here, woof.
You're on board
with
Rick Kelly. So that's what happened to Rick Kelly at turn 1. You'll watch the car behind the Team Vodafone car. So Stephen Richards gets hold of Whincup, who then gets hold of Kelly.
Yeah.
And the Richards incident was forced, or as a result of, contact with Todd. Dean Canto finished 18th yesterday.
12 laps down, 34 to go.
So he dropped a few spots from his qualifying. Now he's going to find traffic in the form of John Bowe, Mark Scaife and Stephen Johnson. Canto's gone, Scaife's gone as well.
You can see that coming. They're all skating down there into one, and Scaife was crossed up. Oof. People going across the bow of the car. Oh. Back out with Van Gisbergen, and away he goes again. Just the back of the guards hanging off. Turn 2, an incident here. Scaife trying to pull up, not whack the back of John Bowe, but in doing so locks the rear brakes, tags Dean Canto. Round they go. This was the previous lap.
Canto was on cold tyres at that stage. He'd just come out after completing his pit stop. Look at Scaife trying to hold it. They both ended up losing it.
Well, Matty, you're spot on there with Mark Scaife. Just spoke to Rob Starr, the team manager there for Holden Racing Team. He said Scaife's car's got real problems. They just can't get it sorted out at the moment. Mark's got his hands full.
So, just to get this in perspective, that's Richard Holway talking to Scott McLaughlin about what's going on here. They're hanging on a safety car. Neil Crompton sold us the prospect of making it to 137 to get home. They've stopped on 136 down the inside. He goes, he's into the side of him. They run into each other. He's blocked out brake. He's going to redress.
But look at this.
No, they're all gone. They're all gone. Tander's off. McLaughlin's off. The redressing's caused that. Tander had nowhere to go.
Can you keep going, bud?
You're kidding me.
No way.
You're kidding me. And this will trigger a safety car. Very likely a safety car. What a disaster. 11 laps remaining in the great race.
Just be careful,
And this is a terrible shame. Garth Tander's got damage that will stop that car.
Mate, I couldn't control
it's all over. There's damage that will stop.
Mate, you keep going.
There's damage that will stop car 33 as well. I think McLaughlin can't get out of it from here.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I reckon you've got to come in, mate. Let's have a look at it.
That is an absolute disaster. What a shame. What a shame. Rusty.
They're standing by with 4 green tyres for Fabian Coulthard. They're going to bring 12 in, and you should have heard the cheer. No one wants to see an accident at the mountain, but this could change the game for Fabian Coulthard at a critical time.
Certainly will. Coulthard's got the lead by 15 seconds. That car is destroyed, the Garth Tander car. Here's the replay. It started with Whincup on the dirty side of the road, locked up and tags Scott McLaughlin, who takes to the grass. And then Whincup comes out of the throttle. Tander tries to go down between the two of them. They all make contact, and the Holden and the Volvo whack the wall.
Unbelievable. Have a go at Whincup. He knew that if he could grab him here, then he dictates the race. So he did everything he could humanly try to go round the outside and won, then parks it on the grass. So I'm just going to sit back and watch this, wind this up. Oh, yeah. Hold on to her, baby. That was cool.
Control. And credit to Scott McLaughlin, because he actually held it tight. He actually gave him as much road as he possibly could. So both guys there at really high skill level.
Bear in mind, there's 24 guys out there also going, where are they? Because they can't see when all that's happening. There's about 3 tonne of dirt in the air.
But that is so brave. That's 235k on the way in. They touched. and then how he got back under control, because that little bit of tar looks very narrow then. This is the contact for Mostert. He's around the outside of Holdsworth, and Will Davison and one of the HRT cars, Garth Tander, not sure which one actually made contact, but those two Commodores were the cars that had made contact with car 55, Chaz Mostert, who was...
The hairpin, they're almost 4 abreast.
This will be the nervous spot round the track, because if there's a concertina, which there is, big trouble in the middle of the pack. Huge contact there. One of the Gary Rogers cars has been turned around, a Team BOC car. Jamie Whincup has got damage. This is what we feared at the hairpin.
And Wilson got crunched as well, and is that Paul Radisich?
John Bowe, big damage on the front of his car.
Mark Porter, a lot of smoke coming from his car. So crunch time on the first lap. Porter will need to be a little careful here. He's got Paul Morris right behind. The fast guys are coming through.
Jason Bargwana with damage to the front right corner of the WPS Ford. They've got a bit of a fold in the front right guard, and that could potentially damage that tyre. And you can see the splitter is also dislodged. It's actually shaving rubber off that tyre. Very dangerous. Jamie Whincup, there's the damage.
There was also severe damage, Neil, to one of the Jack Daniels cars. Greg?
It's extensive, boys. There's coolant slowly leaking out of the front of the 88 car. The man who led this championship coming into the Pukekohe round. Lots of damage to the bonnet, to the side door. And there was a raft of radio messages from team managers and engineers before the start of this race. Patience will be the key. That was the message already. Some action unfolding.
And Jason Bargwana's run has come to a stop. He's buried in the sand trap down there because that front right tyre did blow. He couldn't pull the car up down there. Look at the damage on Stephen Richards. Jack Daniels Holden through turn 1. He's battling with Russell Ingall. The order at the moment, folks: Jason Richards leads, half a second over Andrew Jones, Steve Owen, Garth Tander to 4th, then Brad Jones, Will Davidson, Lee Holdsworth, Rick Kelly, Paul Morris, Mark Porter. Here we are on board with Russell. He is in 14th at the moment and making a move on Richo.
Big progress from the defending champion. Richards won't allow it though. Richards comes back on the inside.
So is the safety car's being deployed. I figured that would be the case when we saw Jason in that awkward position up there at turn 5, and that's water on the front of our camera lens down there at the hairpin, the southernmost end of the circuit. So Russell readdressed his position as Stephen comes in to deal with the damage on the front of the car.
So there you have it. What a start to the reverse grid format.
No way I can drive the car without the power steer back, so you've got to fix the power steer.
Power steering issue for Steve, and he's telling Barry Ryan, I can't drive the car without power steer. That was the difficulty for a couple of competitors yesterday. This is Paul Radisish's Team Kiwi Racing Holden Commodore in the lane. Massive damage on John Bowe's car here. 200th start in yesterday's race. Big bonnet damage, radiator intake, front bumper bar support and front wing. And this is Stephen Richards' car.
Put it down. Put it down. Let me have a look. It's done the right way.
Stephen Richards' car, just watching the team here right now. Larry Perkins overlooking these guys. They've got a belt on standby, obviously the power steering, Neil, that you mentioned, but Larry said to these guys, the most important thing is have a look underneath. If the radiator is buggered in this car, stick it in the garage.
Yeah, I think I picked up a little of the conversation where they were talking about a leak, and if that's the case, they're in trouble, and they're using the Go jacks, which are the little jacks they insert under the back of the car. There's Jason Bargwana. No tyre, or at least a deflated tyre in the front right-hand corner, Greg.
Ludo Lacroix has opened the passenger side door for me to enable us to speak to Jamie Whincup. In the interim, they have the dent puller out on the front of the car. The airbox is broken. Jamie, just quickly, what happened from your standpoint, from your view?
Yeah, it looked like Mark Porter had a spin at the hairpin, and there were a few cars involved, and it was pretty well stopped. And I actually stopped my car to see what was going to happen, and someone just pushed me from behind and just pushed me straight into a big for a couple of cars. I think I hit a Valvoline car at the end, but I had my foot hard on the brake. I was just getting pushed from behind.
damage looks bad. Is the goal here just to try and get out and salvage some points if you can?
Oh, absolutely. We'll get back out there for the sponsors and try to get 75% of the race done so we can get some points. But not the best way to finish race 2, but on my behalf, it's sort of unavoidable.
Hard luck, Jamie Whincup there.
And that's the issue. Unavoidable is the key word. There's going to be a lot of that through this year where you find yourself in the unwitting position of just being in the middle of something that you had no control over and going up into a fast approach to a hairpin like turn 5. It's a 270k approach. You're braking for about 150 metres or so down to a 60 kilometre an hour, in some cases first gear hairpin. Only have to have one little issue. Someone just gets it a little wrong and all of a sudden all those behind are in trouble. So Luff touches Porter. That's what triggered it all. And then a heap of people had nowhere to go. Bang, bang, bang. Look at that.
And there was Bowe into Whincup and Whincup into Canto. None of them had an option. No one had a choice in that.
Here it is again from the front. Watch the Fujitsu car just touching the back of Porter's yellow Commodore, just in the late part of the braking zone. Little touch right there out of screen. And then all this angry pack arriving at full race speed. They jump on the brake pedal. Everybody backs up. It looks like peak hour on a Friday afternoon in most Australian cities.
There was those who went, and there has been severe damage to the Armco. And as a result of that, the race has been red flagged. Take a look at this impact.
Yeah, we just see the aftermath where John hits the wall very heavily on the outside. I heard the car go by our commentary point and I saw all the spectators jump to their feet. It sounded strange as it went by, whether or not the track conditions were greasy at that moment and he couldn't pull the car up, whether it had a jammed throttle or some other issue as a result of the incident that he was involved in at turn 5 on the opening lap. We obviously don't know. We'll try and get answers as soon as possible. But John into the wall heavily. He's out of the car. He's okay. Big damage to the fence, and I suspect that's the reason for the red flag. Daryl, can you update us?
Neil, I have a few answers for you, and John Bowe's problem actually started before that accident when he was in pit lane earlier in the race when he touched the bonnet, was down on the top of that car. It was idling fast, so he switched it off in the pit stop. Kim Jones says when he's gone back out, the throttle has jammed, like you mentioned, and that's why the accident has happened.
Yeah, when it went past our commentary point, it sounded weird, and I could tell that, well, what I thought was John had actually dipped the clutch, and it was on the rev limiter as it went by, and you can't go in there even a car length too deep, and you just won't get the car stopped and turned, and that's the reason for the impact. So, Greg?
As you're going to
see, Ford of Brad Jones runs third. So we look at a zinger replay here up at the hairpin, and it's between Porter and Luff, and they were the two that came together earlier. You might call that a little payback, perhaps.
Who's going to take that stop? And here's the story.
Stanaway, so tried to get down the inside of Jack Perkins. So there were a couple of cars involved, broken the steering, and then it's just, that's it, game over. Can't get it off the wall after that one. Oh, this is the reason why they lost the air coupling. That is incredibly dangerous. And David's giving him tons of space. Well, mind you, Paul was really close to, Craig Baird using a lot of road and contact, team to team. That was an inter-team contact. And that has fired Russell into the wall down there.
And then trying to cover it.
Is he able to get it out? It's got a fair bit of damage around the rear, hasn't it?
Oh, it backed in pretty hard, actually, didn't it? So when he lost control after the bump with his teammate, it ended up running into the right-hand rear quarter pretty heavily, as you can see. It's pushed all the back of the car across. And Craig Baird was on the radio saying he ran wide.
We need to have a look at the back of this car.
He ran wide, and then he tried to cover. So Craig Baird was explaining to the team that he didn't want to serve him up, but he tried to cover. Baird was down the inside. It's always hard there. It's very narrow, and it's very blind. You got to come in. You got to come in. No, please.
He should have stopped with that one, mate. I didn't see that smoke. See you limp around and then make your way back in, please. Watch your mirrors.
You got it's not tracking nicely. It looks pretty evil out there, doesn't it, unfortunately? So that was Campbell Little's voice on the radio.
And they sensed that this might have been a safety car at Gary Rogers Volvo. They weren't going to play that card, but if the safety car did come out, they had tyres on standby for both cars. They have just been put back in the garage.
So what Craig Baird said is right. Craig reacted and then
when he tried to go further to the left, Aaron went with him and then covered. So that's Erebus Motorsport Holden's making contact at turn 12, and unfortunately for Aaron, done pretty big damage to the back of that car. He'll have to come in next time round in the Plus Fitness Racing entry. Here we are looking at Stephen Richards on David Wall, thought about it and then tucked it back in.
These guys have raced pretty vigorously through the year in the Porsche Carrera Cup, so they've done a fair few laps together. David Wall now in front, and there's the rear tyre, which is totally torn off the rim. There's an onus on the driver at that stage also. You know you've gone in the fence.
Cars in the way. Stephen Johnson would have been, I reckon, at the front of that group by the time he got down there. Kelly's gone around, Bright in behind him, and this will cause huge chaos.
Bright's airborne. The back of that car was right up. The Jack Daniels cars are damaged, and mass carnage on the opening lap.
What a shame. Absolute shame. This will be a safety car. A lot of damage on Kelly's car. Stephen Richards involved as well in the Jack Daniels Holden. And Jason Bright.
Let's get ready, guys.
They've gone off onto the go-kart track down there. This will trigger full course yellow.
Going anywhere.
It's just been one of those weekends, and it was remarkable that yesterday we just had such a clean race one. No incidents. And look at this. There's about $1 million worth of race cars in that shot, and they're torn up. And torn up badly.
Matthew Crawford's telling Todd Kelly, leave it where it is, mate. And Stephen Richards, his day is done. Todd Kelly's day is done. And these two boys were having a very promising weekend. It's all over now, though. Bright was able to drive away from this incident as Stephen Richards inspects the front of a very heavily damaged Jack Daniels Commodore. And Todd Kelly, while looking at a podium, a potential podium for the weekend, Larry Perkins inspects the damage from afar. And Todd Kelly says, how in the world did this happen? Bright was right in the middle of it too. He was up.
And he was complaining on the radio before the start of a misfire with this car.
Zinger replay. Let's see if we can unravel this. Bright's up the inside of Ingle. That tap turns Kelly around, and watch this.
Yeah, I think that it just looked like Jason touched the back of Todd there, and then it triggered the massive concertina. It ran back 5 and 6 cars. And Stephen Richards had absolutely nowhere to go. Here it is again.
It was actually, it looked like Ingle may have contacted Kelly first. It wasn't a heavy hit, but it was enough to unweight the back of that car and turn him around. And in comes Stephen Richards driving behind Bright.
Well, Russell was on the radio talking to Barry Hay, and he said, I had no contact with anybody. It'll remain to be seen, and they'll look at the pictures from the onboard cameras provided by the Touring Car Entrance Group of Australia, and there's the damage on the Cat car, pretty substantial. They'll use some race tape to try and patch her all up. They want to get the car out to at least finish, but it depends on what other structural issues there may be.
Chris O'Toole right in the middle of that, instructing the boys on what to do, how to get that Cat Ford back out there as quickly as possible. This is Paul Dumbrell. This is the sister car to Stephen Richards.
Okay, mate.
Heavy damage for Paul on that front end as well.
When you go down to Larry's factory in Melbourne, you'll see in the fabrication area they make rows and rows of front bumper supports. That's the reason in this category you often end up with a lot of damage.
So, an eventful start to the third and final race of the weekend. We'll get the damage cleared up. When we come back, we'll go racing. Stay with us.
Suit is bara getter. Is bara getter. Maar dit var upp getter. Inte bara getter. Kött var upp getter. Getter. Men suget var upp här på Russell. Suget var